It says we are live,
Ooh,
so
we are live.
assuming we're live.
We'll
Let me.
do it live.
We're doing it live. And just for those who do come back in here later on and watch this, this is actually I'm having to use my phone as my uh, streaming device because my internet with Cox still sucks. Cox sucks.
It's
Suck
supposed to be
cock.
the other way around.
Yeah, I know it's supposed to be sock cucks. Suck
Words
cock.
hard.
Yes. My tongue tied itself. Uh,
Well, your tongue can do some pretty amazing things, so.
dude, I saw this. Um, it was his, uh, it was on Instagram, but I think it originated on TikTok. But it's this fairly attractive gentleman has an Oreo, and he splits it open, and he's just licking the cream also, sensually, and then
Mm-hmm.
it cuts to this woman like looking at it like, wow. And she slaps a post-it note on her forehead. It says Oreo.
As you do. As you do.
As you do. All right, so looking good on this end from what I can tell. So,
Thank you. I appreciate that. I've been, you know, been a little bit insecure. Oh, so we recorded Saturday, and we imbibed.
the three of you imbibed, yes.
Yes. So we recorded on From Here to Paternity for our podcast. And uh, Eric, Damien, and I imbibed. And today, something arrived. And it
What
is,
about
it is this.
the ISIS trilogy?
But I don't fully remember why it arrived to my house. Except for I opened this up and I was like, that's right, we talked about a book and it sounded really cool. And I was like, I gotta get that. And so while drunk, I apparently ordered this book. Uh,
While we were chatting, you ordered.
yes, I ordered it while we were doing our recording for the podcast. So
Yeah, because
that
I
came.
think that was the one that Damien was talking about that he read that got him into reading. That he
That's
his
what it was.
librarian or something like
Yes,
said
his
you'll like
librarian
this.
recommended it. Yeah, it's sci-fi and all that stuff.
So I guess it's an older one. I don't remember. I don't remember if I ever read it or not. Because I read so many books when I was younger. So many of them I don't remember. It's the ones I remember more as like a teenager that I remember more.
I've never heard of it. So
Yeah.
but I like like there's a number of books that you will throw out at me that I'm like, if Joe says this, I need to read this because this is going to be something that I'm there's a 99.9% chance that I'm going to dig this, right? And so, well, probably not that high, but nonetheless, there's a really good chance I'm going to like this. And Damien, like, to me, Damien, I do think he there's a number of books that he just that when he recommends a book, like it's typically a quality book, and so
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm not I'm not hating on myself about that at all, but yeah, that came in today, and I was like, huh, and I just remember just I just sort of thought to myself like The hell, Bobby?
You just
Damn
drunk.
it, boy!
Supposedly,
Just like,
supposedly drunk texting. He's like, I've
right?
never. It's like be like so drunk. It's like, you know what? I want to order something.
We've definitely done
Mark,
that.
mark that on the checklist for you.
Right. No, we've definitely done that when it came to food and some other things.
Yes. Like, call and order pizza, and then the pizza guy arrives. It's like, do you remember ordering pizza? You got cash?
Man.
Uh,
Yeah. No, like it's yeah, so that was just funny. I came in and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. And I could, but I thank you for reminding me that it was Davey, because I couldn't remember who had talked about that. I was like, was that you? Or I couldn't remember. I remembered somebody had talked about the book. I didn't remember what the book was about. I couldn't remember the the context of the book. But I was like, I remember somebody talking about a book and me like in the construct or whatever the concept. So guess I'm I guess I know what I'm gonna be doing like after I'm done with my next book. So,
you read
or
it
my
to the
last book.
girls. Read it with the
Yeah,
girls.
yeah, that's what I was planning
You
on
know?
doing. So
Like it could be a father daughters bonding
yep,
thing.
right before bed. We'll watch some Doctor Who and then jump into reading this story. So
Y'all, I miss Doctor Who. It's like I'm like caught up, but I think there's like still like some new one, like very very new ones that I haven't actually seen, so not necessarily caught up. But the thing about like the BBC is you go like years between seasons, and it's just like, and then they'll throw out like 3 4 episodes, and then like hiatus for another couple years. And you're just like, dear God, man, come on.
like when a like not with the Doctor Who per se, but like a lot of their shows like man, sorry, the sun has started to set and now it's hitting um the windows across
Yeah.
the street and it's glaring right in my face. I still see blue, and so blue, but no, like here, sorry, uh, yeah, no. A lot of like English or like British series, like a full season's like 6 episodes, and you're like, wait, what? Like I'm getting upset now that a lot of series are dropping down from like 23 down to like 10. And I'm like, you lazy sons of guns. What do you think you're doing?
Mm.
How dare you? Get to work.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that's like the problem I have with like the Wheel of Time, other than the complete clusterfuck of season 1. Um, you know, like just completely deviating from source material, and I kind of understand it if you look at it as though the wheel rotates over and over and over again, right? So things that have already happened are happening again. They don't always happen in the same way. So if you look at the show in that light, I guess it kind of works. But just there's so much source material, you know,
No,
and
what oh, go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, and it's just there's a large chunk of the series that people refer to as the slog, right? Because there's like not a lot of stuff happening. It's a lot of character development and relationship development and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed those parts. Some people were like, but it's it's like you never really, to me, like the first season, there was not enough character development, and to like cram it all into just like, was it 8 episodes?
Right.
You know, I mean, here, if I can do it without knocking anything over. Ugh. Like, how do you cram that into 8 episodes?
Right. Yeah. No,
I mean, I know there's a lot of fat that could probably be trimmed, but like, goddamn.
no, and what irks me is that those changes sometimes are can be an improvement to, like, again, because again, like, people will say books are better than movies because you get more detail and all this different stuff, but then at the same time complain about the fact that the Lord of the Rings, like the full 3 movies, director's cut, which is still trimmed, is 9 hours long,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, like, that's a little over a third of an entire day to watch, like, the whole thing, right? And so, and people are complaining about that being too long, right? You watch a 4-hour movie and you're like, oh God, oh God, what are you doing? Stop this, right? Though you binge 10 episodes on Netflix or one of the streaming devices and you have no complaints.
Right, but
Anyways,
yeah, you can. But the thing is you can pause it. You can go to the
yeah,
bathroom. You can stop and eat. That
right,
it's like when you're sitting through a 4-hour movie. It's like
right. You're
they
stuck.
don't like pause it for an intermission and let everybody go to the bathroom. No, you got to figure that shit out.
No, no.
Like,
Um. Oh, how did I forget this? What's the famous Southern one? Frankly, my dear, I don't, give a damn. Um, Scarlet and Rhett Butler. Old, old, old. Oh no! Why is this movie escaping? It's like an old, like one of the old, like, um, it takes place in Atlanta, the burning of Atlanta during the Civil War. Gone with the Wind. No, is yeah, Gone with the Wind. Okay, thank you. All right,
it's
all
been
right.
so long since I've watched Gone with the Wind.
Yeah, okay.
It's like I was a child. I
If
think when I sat and watched
if
that with mom, it was like I don't even remember the freaking storyline
okay,
anymore.
for the entirety of that, there's at least, if anybody were to watch this, there's at least like 6 people going, like, or like, there's at least a third of the people that watch this, that I won't even say 6 people will, but at least a third of the people that watch this will be screaming, "Gone with the Wind! What's wrong with you people? Gone with
Are
the
you not an
Wind!"
American?
Right. So, anyways, that movie was a 4-hour movie, with an intermission in the middle of it. Like, right halfway through, there's an intermission, and so, like, it actually, even in the VHS copy or whatever that I watched it on, it went to like intermission, and so, um, it's crazy. It's crazy. So yeah, yeah, yeah. No, you're right. Like, something that long needs an intermission, but like, also, like, films and TV are a totally different medium, right? So I get things that worked in the book wouldn't necessarily work in a movie, right? If you did it in a show or a movie, it wouldn't necessarily translate the way that one might think it will, right? So certain things have to be changed, altered, whatever, right? And also, I think the difference between a book and a movie, you're getting someone else's vision of it, where the beauty of a book is that it's your vision. And
To an extent. I mean, Robert Jordan was very descriptive of things. So
right,
but yet again, there is still a lot to the imagination.
right. So, but and so it's still like how you envision someone looking, their facial features. Like if an author is going down to the detail, describing the bridge of the nose, and then the nares, and then the septum, and
No,
it like
yeah,
right,
not that detailed, but yeah.
right, and this is what their tragus looked like, and this is what like you're like enough, dude. Like you're not Anne Rice, right? Like enough. We don't need to know. Like I love Anne Rice, but like we don't need to know the 300-year history of this door. Okay, like it's a freaking door. Like I'm sorry. That's my one little like rip on Anne Rice is that it's like she'll go and get so detail oriented. Sometimes you're like, what? Like, real? It's a door.
Have you watched any of the new series
Oh, of interview?
of Interview and the Witch
Oh
series?
no, the Mayfair witches. I haven't
Yeah.
seen the Mayfair, but I did watch the interview with the vampire.
How
Yes.
was it? Don't no
I
spoilers. Was it
I
good?
won't. I won't. I actually liked it. I really actually I thought that it was like it's hard because Tom Cruise again, like I think for a stint there, Tom Cruise really tried to get like awards, um, and like his performance in Magnolia. I think that should have gotten an Oscar, and it was I can't remember who he lost to, but I'm just to me that was one of the most disappointing things because I thought that was such an exceptional performance. That was such a like a Magnolia, the movie Magnolia, like Paul Thomas Anderson's like that was just one of the most like spectacular movies to me. Um, and Tom Cruise's performance was exceptional and like I'll just say his weeping like uh theme just insane, right? And like of how good it was, right? And then Brad Pitt, we talked about in our recording about like how talented of an actor like Brad Pitt was, right? Or it
Yeah.
is, right? And so like you have those two, and then even like Kirsten Dunst before she became like when she was still a kid, before she even really was like as good as she was like eventually going to become like child Kirsten Dunst like that was an exceptional cast, right? So to me that's a really hard cast to beat, and if you go into it expecting those characters, even like you had Christian Slater in it, right? Like, and he had a bit part, but like Christian Slater's a phenomenal actor. Like, I think Christian Slater is like absolutely an underrated actor. I don't think he gets enough credit for his talent, and also an underused actor. I think, especially nowadays. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
but like, yeah, I don't know necessarily a fan of Cruise in Interview.
I
I mean,
I,
I
I
mean,
don't
I
think.
I, I still appreciate it because I
Mhm.
mean, you know, the genre movie
Right.
and bringing Anne or bringing Anne Rice out. You know,
He gave that series the gravitas.
Right. Um,
Like, because he was more
it
of a name than Brad Pitt.
yeah, it was a name,
Yeah.
attached to the film, and but it's like going and watch like the Jack Reacher series, right?
Hmm.
You go and you watch Tom Cruise's Jack Reacher, and if you've read the books, which they're not the greatest books, I mean, they're entertaining, right?
Right, right, right.
They're written well enough. They're not classics to me,
Hmm.
but they're good, books. Tom Cruise is not the one by any stretch of the imagination. You know, I mean,
Is the
you've
Prime
you
Video
saw the,
actor?
saw the show, right? The new
Yeah, yeah,
show
yeah. Yes, I saw the show.
that is Reacher.
Okay.
That the how he's described, former military, big, very imposing character.
A
And,
Herculean like figure.
yeah, you
Yeah,
know,
that's that actor to a T.
yeah, yeah,
And he's even
and
bigger now.
brutal. You know, go ahead. What was
He's
that?
supposed to be even bigger in the second season. Like he's even like they're saying like he's even gained like another like 15 pounds of muscle.
Damn.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, like I saw like a picture like they had like a season 1 versus like season 2 like of him like next to it. I was like, "Damn, dude
He,
freaking
he
like the
bulked.
dude was already oh man, he's already built like a freaking linebacker and like he bulked even more. Now he's like a D tackle or like not a D tackle, but like he's like an edge rusher. Like he's a D lineman now. It's like, good lord, man.
He's a beast.
Yeah. Like, and I really liked him in Teen Titans, like the Teen Titans like live action show. Like he was
I
hot.
haven't watched that. I need to watch that.
It's I mean, it's a CW show, so it's like it's not.
Is it? Because I watched
Well, it's not.
CW. Like I start when they came out with Green Arrow or the
Mhm.
Arrow. What was it? Arrow
Yeah,
or
the
Green?
Arrow,
I
the
think it was
Arrow.
Arrow, but it was the Green
Yeah,
Arrow.
the yeah,
When that started, I'm like, cool.
yeah.
You know, more comic book stuff. Give it to me,
Hmm.
feed me. You know, and then they did the Flash, and they did Supergirl. They did what was it
Black
uh
Lightning.
yeah, Black Lightning, but I
Oh,
forget. Oh,
uh,
it's not
Heroes
Lois.
of Tomorrow, or
Well, yeah, they did that one, but they also did the Superman.
Superman and Lois. Yep.
Yeah, so they had the whole thing, and I don't think they did Black Lightning enough justice in I think, but I like that series.
Oh, I like that series a lot. Yeah.
Because I like yet again comic books similar to sci-fi movies.
Hmm.
You know, they're trying to teach a moral. They're trying to make commentary on things that are happening in the world outside of the book. Um, and that to me at least was still um, somewhat relevant. To with the but I mean, they were all real campy, you
Yeah.
know. But
I
I
like.
enjoyed
I know. I'm not disparaging them in any way, shape, or
no.
form, right? And like, I don't know if
Kevin Smith directed some of them, right?
yes, yeah. And no,
Oh,
I like
yeah, I forgot
yeah,
about
Batgirl, yeah,
Batwoman,
Batgirl,
Batwoman.
Batwoman. You're right.
Yeah,
That one I haven't seen because that one came as I was like tailing off because like the Era just retired they had just stopped the Arrow, Black Lightning had stopped, um, like, um, Oh, I keep on want to say Heroes of Tomorrow, but it's not. That's not the name of it. But that's
No.
another that one I liked. Um, and like, and again, one of my favorite DC superheroes was Firestorm, and so like,
Yes.
oh, like
Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow. That's what it is.
Yes. I always
And
dug that concept of Firestorm when I was a kid, you know? And you've got these, like, two competing people,
mhm.
you know? I mean, they're not really competing. They're working together, but, you've got, all right.
It's the odd couple, but in a human body or in a
Right.
body.
I'm going to put this out there um, because it's something I wanted to bring up to Eric, and I keep forgetting, and I wanted to bring it up to you guys too. Like, I can't write for shit, but I was driving around on the forklift, and I'm doing my thing, and waiting on loads sometimes, and it's your brain wanders,
Hmm.
right? And I was thinking about Spawn, right? And I love Spawn,
Hmm.
but I think in the news there was yet again another school shooting, and I was thinking about a modern day um, new vigilante, right? Um, and I'm gonna forget the character's name. Um, it's a DC character, if I remember correctly. But anyway, I think it's I think it's like multiple. It's if I'm my memory might be completely misremembering this, but there's if I remember correctly, there was a superhero DC that were like a bunch of kids that when they did something or said something, they became like one superhero. I might be misremembering. I, I want to say
Oh,
like he fought like you might be able to look it up. I'm
yeah.
I but anyway, the concept that was running through my head, right, is an anti-hero, very much like Spawn, very much crossover of Spawn, the Punisher, this character, right? But the creating origin story of this character is they were all in the same classroom during a school shooting and they all died. And through their trauma and them huddling together at the moment of their death, bonded them
Hmm.
into this anti hero that now, in some way, would go around preventing things like this from ever happening again. Somehow. It was a crossover. I mean, I had like it was like I was pulling from like tons of different like superheroes, right? Or anti-heroes. Um, like Sandman, you know, he
Hmm.
could get into dreams, so he could know what somebody's intentions were and what their driving forces were if they were a potential threat to others, right? He could use their dreams to try and push them away from doing these things, right? If
Hmm.
he for whatever reason failed at that, he just you know pop up right at the moment, because I had this vision, right? Like the shooter busts in through a door and is getting ready to shoot a teacher and her students, and like he pops up out of nowhere, gun already out, pop, and disappears, right? Kind of like how Spawn would like jump in and out, you know,
Right.
and just it was just like this like mishmash of all these different characters into one that was kind of this like modern day, just trying to change and kind of Desker-esque kind of thing. Is like only going after the bad guys, right?
Right.
You know,
Like, and that's what gives him
except
his.
for you're kind of bringing in the pre the pre-crime, the was it the precog
Yeah.
from it's like they haven't actually done it yet, but I mean they are literally in the act of doing it.
Right.
Right, he's trying to prevent them from doing it and trying to redeem them, right, and show them a different path. But for those that don't, for whatever, they're just already lost, you know. But I wanted it to be like this kind of like just dark yet hopeful kind of story, with like
Oh,
an
I.
anti-hero with like a multiple personalities, or I don't know if that's the correct term anymore. Like a multiple
Dissociative.
personality disorder.
Dissociative identity.
Yeah, because he doesn't really, because literally he is composed of multiple people, right? And all
Mhm.
and but there's that inner conflict constantly, right? You know, inside their head, which is actually a character. If you ever get into reading Brandon Sanderson, and his uh, storm, I'm gonna screw it up. Stormlight um, Chronicles.
Mhm.
Um, there is actually a character that um, does have the disassociative. What would you say it was again?
Dissociative identity disorder.
Yeah, dissociative identity disorder. Um, she has at least three. Her main self, and then that one that developed as a protector
Mm-hmm.
for herself, and to do the things that she didn't feel she could do. And then there's another one that is like a fighter, you know. Um, but
Sure. No,
it's,
like no.
it's actually really cool how he
So
worked that.
I was looking up and I was like, oh well, a cool concept would be like Ruel, who is the angel of redemption, right? And
Right,
and like that could be the character's name is Ruel, and basically what they do is they it's the angel of, what was it, just so that I have the whole list of justice, fairness, harmony, vengeance, and redemption, right? And so like gives the person the opportunity to do something different, and if they don't take it, then becomes vengeance or
yeah,
justice, right? However, and so like that's taking like a mythology, right? Or religious, religion, mythology, whatever, you want, like you want to call it, and you know implementing it like we do with so many different ones or whatever, right? And so
yeah. I'm trying to look to see if I can.
no, like so like I was trying to look, like there's a number of superheroes who have like blended powers from sort of people, and like but like multiple kids like coming into as to one superhero. I was like, Captain Planet.
No, that was like a thought in my head, but all they did was like hold up their rings. They didn't
Right.
actually
They're not
become.
actually right. They didn't actually become him, and
So
and then there's like Captain Marvel and like his whole series, but they don't become one superhero. They each like get part of his power, like the Captain Marvel family. Captain Marvel meaning the person who was later identified, named to Shazam, and then Captain Thunder. Um,
hold on. Captain Thunder. Why does that sound like familiar? Captain Thunder.
That's just the name for Shazam.
In this new world, Billy, Freddie, and Mary were friends, and the three were children. Gene Choi. They were caught in a subway car that took them to the Rock of Eternity. The wizard Shazam gave each of the children a special attribute of a great hero, and Billy obtained the courage of Achilles.
Oh yeah,
The word Shazam. Together, the six children formed a composite hero named Captain Thunder.
Captain Thunder.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, but it's that kind of thing, but in this twisted kind of dark,
Yeah.
you know, moment, creating, yeah, like, kind of an avenging angel, if you will. Yeah.
Well, it'd be like like Moon Knight, right? Different, but like I'm just saying, like from this theme or whatever, right? Like so, like Moon Knight has uh Kish. Oh,
He has the
the
dissociative
the
personality disorder,
right.
because he if I remember, I don't know how it was in the show because I never actually finished the show. I started, but I never finished it. But if I remember in the comic book, he was a real person, but because he was doing all this undercover work and taking on different personas, he forgot who was the real one.
Well, no, he actually like because of like the trauma and stuff. He actually had he had
Right, but
three identities in him. Yeah.
yeah, but I think there was a reason why he was taking on those different identities. At, and I don't know. I might, yet again, my memory might be crap, but I
Well,
thought,
well,
I thought that was,
and like it's oh, why is it escaping me that it Redcon, right? Like it's been Redconned a couple of times. So like you had the older comic and then a newer version, like, and I like the newer series that came out because it got like full on like no, he just flat out has, he was like severely troubled and you're not sure if he actually has any of this is real or if it's just, you know, his disorder. Like it's like the newer one like did like from my perspective, because you know my you know bent my kink, um like I like things that are like, what's that?
that nobody's going to yuck your yum.
That's right, we don't yuck yums here. And so yeah, no, like it to me that's a far more like fascinating like construct, right? Because again, I don't like the pressure of having billions of people's lives on your shoulders, right? Like if you think of like Superman, right? Like this iconic character, right?
Yeah.
And who in some portrayals like just basically is able to go up to space and can hear every single person, right? Almost like a god, right? Almost like God and their wishes, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
not worship, but their prayers, right? God and their wishes, God and their prayers, right? Wishes,
I didn't
prayers.
say it, Scott. I didn't say it.
So I know that was a Freudian slip on my part, right? And so like and here he is with the ability to answer calls, right? And yet has to choose over the other,
Yeah, because
right?
he's one person. He can't
Exactly.
be everywhere all at once. Yeah.
Exactly. And so because of that, when you have that power and you have to make that choice still means that you're choosing for someone to die, right?
Yeah,
Um,
trolley problem.
what's that? Oh yeah,
Trolley.
yeah, yeah. The trolley problem, exactly, right? And so it, that has to weigh on you after a while. I mean, we see like what happens to um, ED, like emergency department employees, um, like with this like this chronic stress and this chronic trauma, right? And what we started to call burnout, but now we're finally calling it properly compassion fatigue, right?
Hmm.
um because you can't save everyone, right? And the then having the responsibility of telling the family that you were the one given the knowledge and the tools. Like, if the family was able to have that knowledge and tools, they would happily take it, right? So, like, not always, but a lot of times, right? Like, any of us as parents, would love to be able to have all of that knowledge to save our own children, right? And in fact, many parents would rather step in and do it, than the doctor, right? This belief that we could do it better, right? um than having the doctor if we could. And to have that charge and to yet tell them that, you know from the not from the provider's perspective, but from the family perspective, that you failed in that charge, right?
Hmm.
And you're doing that multiple times a night, multiple times a night. Then you throw in the fact that it's a pediatric ED, right?
Hmm.
And you're having like infants and small children and people's legacies, right? People's futures, people's immortalities, people's treasures, right? All of this concept, right? Like this could be the last of a family bloodline, right? A
Yeah.
family branch. And that because this child died, so too does that family branch, right? Now this family is now dies off to history and will be forgotten forever, right? Like, kind of like some of these like bigger constructs, right? And to have that multiple times a night or a day, and to tell them like, couldn't save your baby, couldn't save your treasure, right? Like, we see what happens to providers and to staff that goes through that, for decades, right? Like,
Yeah.
and that's on a small basis. New York, compared to what Superman is, small town, right? New York City would be small town. Like, you're only talking about 12 million people. That's not even the largest city in the world, right? Like, Mexico City, you're talking about like 100 million or something like that. Crazy, something crazy like that. It's like ginormous, right?
Hmm.
Like, so you're talking small potatoes when you're talking about New York City, compared to like what Superman goes through, right? And so, or would go through. So the fact that this doesn't have some sort of like lasting impact, and that they're just impervious, to me, I hate that construct, and I hate that idea, right? Because they're super not because of their emotional resilience. They're super because of their abilities,
Hmm.
right? But that doesn't mean that you're like Luke Cage in in one of the episodes. Luke Cage in one of the comics has a freaking heart attack, and he's got impervious skin, and so now you're trying to do surgery on someone whose skin is unbreakable, right? So that you can get inside, and you're talking about epithelium. So like, okay, I'll go in through his throat, but his throat is made of epithelium. I'll go in his butt is made of epithelium, right? Like if you're like trying, any orifice that you're trying to go into is covered in epithelium, right? Which is, skin, right? And so therefore it's impervious, right? So how do you get to this, right? So even at like as a superhero, they still have things catching up to them, right?
Hmm.
I I loved, like, you know, the Thor being shown as like overweight and everything, um after he went through his struggles,
Yeah,
right? And so, because again, just because he's got all of these powers doesn't mean that he's impervious to everything,
right.
right? And
Yeah,
so,
because I mean, if you didn't have the empathy to be out there helping, you know, he would be the villain,
mhm,
prob- you know, or at least the anti-hero, you
right?
know. Um, but yeah, and that is the one thing I do appreciate with a lot of, is breaking down the human aspect, you know, that, you know, yeah, it'd be great to be able to do all this and that and the other thing. It's like, but yeah, the fact that you can't save everybody, that, um,
And that
yeah,
your choices
with,
means that someone has to die,
yeah, it would just beat you down. I
right?
mean, I mean, you see, like the Flashpoint, with just Barry being, just wanting so badly to save his mom, right?
Right.
That he goes and completely f's over the timeline,
Right.
because he doesn't understand the consequences,
Hmm.
you know. Um, bringing in that whole butterfly effect thing. You never know what small little change, you know, can change everything else around you.
Right.
So
And I like, that's something I really like to bring into people when we talk about, like, I wish this would have happened, or I wish that would have happened at this time, stuff like that, right? Like like we focus on the struggle, but ignore all of the factors that are in it, right?
hmm
Like, you know, we don't consider, well, why didn't we work on this sooner? Like, you were struggling, why didn't we make changes then?
hmm
Right? Well, like I say with you guys, frequently in our podcast, like, adolescence to early adulthood, you're trying to figure out who you are as an individual, and what your identity is, right?
hmm
Then when you get into like young adulthood and like your early 20s, you're trying to figure out and define what your identity is within a system, right? And all of that brings with a lot of fragile ego strength because of the fact that we don't know who we are, right?
I
So go
still,
ahead.
I still feel like I'm trying to figure that out, and
Yeah.
fight against, because with, the how reality is, but versus how I think reality should, you know, not necessarily reality, but society. Understanding my place in this society, I kind of understand that, but understanding why our society is the way it is, just it just seems like we stagnated so long, we just started going back, you know. in a way, you know.
Well, Rollo May has this again. It's up here somewhere. One of these books over here. It's called Love and Will, and he talks about like our societal pendulum, right?
Hmm.
Like the Victorian age, penduluming all the way over to um, the free love hippie era, and then coming back around,
Yeah, but I think it's funny though. You actually kind of go back into like the Victorian era. They were some freaks then too.
yeah, but no, just like society as a whole.
Yeah, but the face of it was very different, very uh, prim, proper. You know, seeming very repressed. You know.
Right.
So.
Well, but like repression always comes out like in unhealthy ways, and you know, um, again, like like on Twitter, I'll get these alerts, and it's like, oh man, again,
In the app formerly known as Twitter.
oh yeah.
That's
Sorry,
what
my
that's
bad.
for
Yeah,
forever now. That's what I'm referring it to. I am
yeah,
not
yes,
calling it what Musk wants it to be called. I
right.
am calling it the app
You know
formerly.
what? I will call it by its proper name. Shitter has, um, every once in a while on Shitter, like I get this like alert, right? That someone will go like, "Oh, look, one of those like drag show people oh wait, no, another Catholic priest. Oh, my bad. Man, like for all of this talk about the dangers of and grooming of these drag show like, book readers, I'm still waiting for for those cases of them grooming children, right? Like, because it really does seem like it's these Catholic priests that are doing it, or
Yeah,
whatever. You never hear about it.
you got some people in costume want to read to kids. Okay, cool.
Oh, I know, right? But like, like again, but I bring up the priests or like, even just the religious figures, right?
Hmm.
Like that when you're, you know, hiding, like, and you're not, acknowledging and accepting of yourself, then those, you cannot lock that away. It comes out in really unhealthy ways, right? And so hiding this stuff just makes everything worse. And so, you know, like during the Victorian era, the sheen of repression, right, is glaring, but what in truth is actually going on is you know comes out in a lot of like different ways, but you get the eyes wide shut crap and stuff like that too, so
Yeah, sorry, I'm gonna switch over because my phone is dying.
okay.
Hold on a second. Let me cut this off.
I really like that
Can you still
picture
hear
of
me?
you. Yeah. Oh, you sound a little bit better.
Well, I would hope I sound better, but
Oh yeah, you're on your
the
mic.
video quality I'm sure will look like complete butt because now my Wi-Fi is better.
No worries, brother.
I'll position and then will it look okay? Look like stationary. I'm the choppy is yeah. We're gonna keep that.
I
Yeah,
actually really like that photo of you, dude. Like
yeah.
I think that's a great.
That's actually a iPhone Messenger um uh filter. Actually does pretty good. So, but
Yeah, I liked how Bean described it as like the Santa Joe.
Yeah. The Watcher.
I like that.
Let's change that.
No, I like that. I like that title. That sounds so great. Who watches The Watchmen? The Watcher does. And he likes it.
Don't mind me over here in the corner.
Right.
You guys,
He's
your
like,
work.
nicely done. Nicely done. Continue on.
Mhm.
Yeah, like you know, just that's just you know my feelings on it is that you know, not just feelings, but like that's just sort of like what you see is that when you're hiding something, you know, and it even comes out like even with family, right? Like, you know, secrets don't stay secret for long, right? Or forever. Like eventually they come out, right? And
Mhm.
so, you know, yeah. So it's you know, and you know those secrets can cause like immense harm because the reason that we keep it secret is because of the shame and guilt that we feel about ourselves, and so like
I was trying to look up that quote about secrets. 3 may keep a secret if 2 of them are dead.
right, yes, such a good one. Yeah, that's a great
If
one.
you want to keep a secret, you must also hide it from yourself.
Right. Well, and again, like we try to subconsciously, but we can't.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's impossible, right? And
I want to know.
that's sort of like the nature of speaking of such the nature of dissociative identity
Yeah.
disorder, right?
Yeah, because
Is
that's a.
that
Go ahead. I was going to say that was a George Orwell quote, by the way. If you want to
that's
keep a secret, you must also keep it from yourself.
who said that?
George Orwell, 1984.
Not yeah, you're right. You're
Throwback
right.
to. So,
Our dystopian series, right?
yes.
That we're doing that we're going like coming in and out on.
Yep.
Oh. But yeah, no, I just like but like with dissociative identity disorder, like you have the you know the identity that carries the burden of all of the pain, right? For everyone else. And that's that one, you know, that identity can be that to me, like that's one of the most horrific things because again, when you're working, when someone has dissociative identity disorder, and again, there's a lot of like, it's still, I don't know if it's still fully accepted blanketly throughout like it's in the DSM-5, but I don't know if it's still fully or I don't feel like it's fully accepted throughout the psychological and psychiatric community because of the fact that again we have such we're just so far behind in being able to measure this stuff properly, right? Or you know, you know, create imagery and you know, even fMRIs, like fMRIs, like when we're looking at these things, like what we're looking at um is the oxygen level in the brain, and based on that we're assuming that's where the brain is being active, right? And it makes sense, right? That seems logical, right? This is where the oxygen's getting diverted to because it's requiring that area of the brain so active. So in order to create the energy, you need oxygen and glucose, and so therefore you know, and so you're kind of measuring that the oxygen level in that area, right? Of the brain. But theoretically, but like still we're not 100% certain
Yeah,
that that's
because I mean,
that we're
we're only
measuring the
as good
correct
as
thing.
the tools we have.
Exactly.
You know,
And
I mean, if all you have is a sharpened rock, before you learn how to melt metals and whatnot, I mean, it's the best you can do at the time. And yet again, getting back to that discussion, about how it's as far as we know now.
right.
It's not absolute, and no, we're not
And we do have a lot
backtracking.
of support for this stuff. So I
Right.
don't want to make any, if anyone listens to this, I don't want them getting the feeling like, oh, we're just pulling stuff out of our rear end just to see what sticks on the wall. No, we're not at that point. Like we know, like we understand the it when we say it's theoretical, we just haven't been able to concretely, you know, say 100% this is a scientific law because we are not our science isn't there. We want, to be able to map the brain. We just need the NIH to like put in the funding so that we can map the brain like we did the human genome. But
Takes time.
no, like we were gonna do it, but then Obama. That was a big push by Obama. Like I thought we were gonna do it. It made it all the way onto Grey's Anatomy and a couple of other medical shows that we were gonna map the brain, and we're really talking about it. People are getting excited about it. We're gonna be able to figure out and solve. Sorry about the alarm. We're gonna
No
get
problem.
to
I'm just,
figure out.
not that you can see, but I'm grooving to it.
Oh, okay.
But
But like
not that
I thought
you.
we were gonna figure out like all of it, make these advances with Alzheimer's. We're all getting excited, and then when Trump came in, he canceled everything Obama did,
Yeah.
just on the basis that Obama started it. It's an Obama program, then we're canceling it, and it's like, oh come on, man! Like, man, woman, TV, dude, like. You're 80 something, you're like 80 years old. This is something that you actually really need. Like not because it, like, again, I'm not trying to sit there and make any kind of commentary that like that he's it, it has dementia or anything like that, but he's at that age that this becomes a really serious concern, right?
Yes.
So on his own selfishness, this would have benefited him, especially the years
Which
had he kept it in place, the years that he would have been there. By now, we would be making some significant, findings. Anyways,
I'm with you.
yeah. So both
Yeah.
him and Biden could have benefited
Yeah.
it. Both of them definitely need it.
Going back to our previous conversation, it's not that, or from previous podcast, not that I think that it needs to be like ageism, right? And
Right.
we have age requirements for office,
Right.
but there's no cutoff, right?
Right.
But now that we're living longer and we know that there's at certain ages there is higher risk of certain mental deficiencies,
Yep.
or things that can cause mental deficiency. There should be some kind of more rigorous like test to make sure that it's not to discriminate against you, but I mean, literally, you are going to be in charge of our military. You're going to be making very important decisions for the country. You know, Same thing for you know all branches. You know,
If you
um,
have dementia and you are a licensed provider, right? Whether that's a medical provider or a legal provider, like a law license or whatever, if you have dementia and you're still practicing, you lose your license,
mhm.
right? Like you get disbarred. If you're, if you don't step down, you will lose your bar license and your right to practice law. If you have dementia and you continue to practice healthcare, you will lose your license, and you will become you become at risk for lawsuit for negligence. And so especially with all of these lawyers making up Congress, the fact that that's not something that's just standard, that look, you got to get tested, right?
Mhm.
And we're just going, well, look, man, they're getting elected in, so obviously if they had dementia, the people would know about it. But you look at Dianne Feinstein, like
And
she got
it, there an interview where they were like asking her a question. She was like, "No, I've been here the whole time." She did like,
there's multiple.
yeah,
It is now a well-known secret that she has some serious like cognitive issues.
right.
And like, earnestly, the people of California should be eligible to sue the staffers of Dianne Feinstein civilly, right? Both for themselves as well as for what they're doing to Dianne Feinstein, because that should be seen as elder abuse. Like, she should not be in that state. She should not be like, that's she would want it. We don't know. She's not cognitively sound. You can't make that decision. You can't say that. Like, if she was cognitively sound, well, of course she would still be there, and nobody would have an issue with that. But because of the fact that she's not cognitively sound, that becomes elder abuse. I can't sit there and say, well, I know I've been treating my patient for so long, I get to now make the choices for them because I know them so well. No, I don't have that right as a provider. Doesn't matter how long I've been working with them. That's
Mhm.
abuse. And so like it's what, and again, Eric would go like, laws apply separately for average citizens and Congress, news at 11. I know. But the fact that literally this is something like, this is a literal two-tiered justice system, that they don't have to face the same consequences that the rest of us have to face. And they're not subject to the same consequences that the rest of us are subject to, or the same ethical standards that the rest of us are subject to. Because like, we may say like, well, like lawyers, right? They go before the bar, and the bar is made up of a bunch of lawyers, right? And so they're looking out for their own. No, because those are lawyers that very likely don't have any idea who this lawyer is, right? It's not
Mhm.
like their practice is making that determination. That would be unethical, right? These are people that you work, and they have a financial incentive for you to continue to work without any kind of consequences, right? You like, that would be unethical, right? But the fact that lawyers are coming in and making this determination on what's ethically appropriate and so on, these are independent lawyers that understand the practice and understand the profession, and so they're able to, so you're being judged by your peers, right? Not literal peers, but peers as equals, right?
Mhm.
And same with medical, medical and but they're independent, right? And the assumption, like, man, the assumption that like nurses, they don't tolerate crap, because they, nurses are constantly seen as the most respected profession, or most trusted profession, like year after year after year, right? And and like that's something that nurses carry with as a badge of honor, right? And part of it leads them to be very, very critical of their peers. So if they catch their peer making a mistake, you're darn tootin' they're gonna report you, right? Like there's not a lot of protection, right? And especially like nursing boards are very, very um harsh, even compared to like medical boards and stuff like that. Um, and so, like, just saying like they're part of the same field does not, to me, mean that you're gonna just skate through, right?
Mhm.
But the problem is that Congress is overseeing themselves, and so like, um, and like when a police agency is investigating itself, that's to me where it's ethically questionable, because then that becomes like the practice investigating itself rather than the bar investigating a lawyer, right? Like now you're getting into ethical issues because they have a financial incentive, they have all these different things. The same with the police department, right? We this is
Mhm.
going to look badly on us, as opposed to an independent outside police department investigating something, right?
Mhm.
And then making that, that has like no connection, right? That has like, we're not even talking about one county over. We're talking about like another state coming in that has no relationship and no, interconnectedness between these states, right? And no interaction, completely independent, coming in and evaluating this, right? And then you would get, you know, more honest evaluations, right? I think, or at least it'd be closer to be ethically sound, right? But Congress,
Mhm.
like, they're just investigating themselves on what's ethically appropriate and not, right? And then they're just judging of, are you on my tribe or not? And then that's to me, that's where it becomes, the big problem. So
Right. Totally agree.
sorry, that was my long diatribe. I apologize.
It's fine. It's fine. We're just hanging it out there, right?
That's right. Just putting it out.
Yeah.
Here
But
it is.
when you were talking about how, you know, scientists, just to backtrack, you were talking about, we're not pulling it out of our ass and seeing what sticks to the wall. I, I had a flash to a Instagram video I watched. I think it might have been on Facebook. I don't remember. But um, this guy's walking his dog. It was like, my dog needs an award, right? Because the dog approaches this tree, and you think, oh, the dog going to, take a piss on this tree.
Hmm.
No, it raises its leg only to get around closer to the tree and backs its butt all the way up to the tree, and then just kind of, concentrating, right? It's away from the tree. He had lit shit on the tree. It was literally stuck to the tree.
That's awesome.
I was like, they're like, oh, nobody's gonna step in it. That's good.
There you go.
It was like, this thing you trained your dog? Is this something he figured out on his own, or
Right. You know what?
It's
I
like,
would, I
are
would,
you going to clean it up? My other question is like, yeah, you filmed this, but are you going to clean it up?
yeah, I know a lot of people would say that that was a trained dog, and I wouldn't put it past people train their animals to do like ridiculous stuff, and again, you film that, you post it out there, it's gonna get a lot of views and likes and things like that, laughs and all that
Yeah.
stuff. However, dogs also will teach themselves to do some pretty interesting things. Dogs have their own quirks, right? And so,
Like cats.
yeah, absolutely, right? And so like they have their own personalities, and so they have their own little like, again, let's not yuck anybody's yum, but they have their own little kinks and stuff. And so like um my dog had a lot of like anxiety, and anticipatory anxiety. And so he had this favorite toy, this hedgehog, that he was like my vet called it nervous nipping. And so he would nip like, and where his head was right where my wife's like, he would nip my wife in the rear, right? And because it was just like that's where it was, and she was walking away, and he'd be so excited that she's home, and he would just like nip her, and she's like, "Oh my god," and raise her voice, and then that would like make him feel, like, "I'm sorry, sorry," or whatever. And so then he would go get the squeak toy and nip, and then he just taught himself to do that. Right? Is he would like, whenever she got home or one of us got home, he would run, grab his little like hedgehog squeak toy, and then like this plushie, and like bite it, and then come over to us and like rub his like face with this toy in his mouth all over us, honking it, right? And like he just taught himself that, um as a coping mechanism, right? um
Mm-hmm.
and so we didn't train him to do that. He just, like, that was what he did in order to get through the anxiety and everything. And so, like, man, dogs do their own like thing. So I, like, again, if someone told me like if it turned out like this person trained the dog to do that, wouldn't surprise me. But if it turned out like this dog for real just trained itself, like that's just what it wants to do. That's how it wants to do it, right? That wouldn't surprise me either. So,
Yeah.
all right, brother,
Yeah, I
it's
think
that
I'm gonna.
time.
Yeah, you need to go watch Who with the games.
No, no, I gotta go actually go put the kiddos to bed.
Oh, you
So
gotta put them to bed.
yeah.
Because it's
So
9:05
yep,
for you. Yeah,
yep,
bedtime. They have
yep.
bedtime summertime.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
oh, I forgot to tell you. You slap. I can't. I don't know if I remember if I mentioned it in uh, uh Father of the Year moment. Not really. Uh, Sat and watched American Psycho with and the
Wait,
wife.
wait, wait.
American Psycho.
Oh, you did?
He had shit, and I put his at the end, because getting back to like reality and we were talking about like you know disorders and all that
Hmm.
stuff. It's like he's just kind of like, what? Huh? I'm like, leave you hanging there. It's like, did it happen? Did it not happen? Was it all in his head? Was some of it in his? Was it just a complete breakdown? You know,
Yeah. No, that's
but
that's a phenomenal movie, man.
it is. It is. I mean,
Yeah.
there's some scenes that are, yeah, not appropriate for, young people, but my son understands things fairly well. Things from him, about the world and that is like, heck, even Jackie asked me, the wife asked me, yesterday. She was like, when we go to like Gainesville, can we bring Cards Against Humanity? Right? Because we've got like tons of the expansion packs, and she's gone through and pulled out like all the like really good ones and like the not so good ones, set them to the side and all that. But when they were gone to go visit her dad
Hmm.
last time, she brought Cards Against Humanity with her, right?
Hmm.
So all the adults, they're sitting around drinking. Guess who won the game?
Oh yeah.
My son.
That's right.
My
Nice.
son won the game.
That's
He
awesome.
understood the twisted humor of it enough,
Right, right, right.
because I'm just like, you know, I've that, you know, and when you're outside home, you know, there are times and places for particular language. You're gonna hear me things, you know. He grew up hearing me say things, Jackie say things, you know. Those are the bad words for kid, but he's to that age now. It's like, you know, the kids at school are using them,
Hmm.
you know, and it's just like, you know, don't use it around, you know, don't use it around your teachers. Don't use it around adults, you know, just be respectful of adults. I prefer if you didn't use it. He is not really big on using them, but he knows them,
Right.
you know. You know, when we're having conversations, it might come out of his mouth, you know, like, up in arms about it, you know. You know,
I like my daughter, like my oldest knows them, and like again, because she's about to go into middle school, like, you know, um when things are like outside of her comfort zone, she just walks away from the situation.
mm-hmm.
Um, and you know, but like kids will use all kinds of stuff and everything and terminology and things like that. And you know, she and I'll talk, like she'll come to me and like, you know, so and so said this thing, what does that mean and what have you. And so, you know, then we got, you know, just kind of talk about it and converse about it. Um, and but you know, like she'll like slip every once in a while, like like about like, you know, but I think in an appropriate manner, right? In the sense of like something really bad happens and like she might go like, "Oh, S," right? Like, and I'm like, "Okay, yeah, that's fair." But like, one second.
Yeah, that's cool. We could wrap it up.
But like, so it's one of those like, you know, it'll slip out, and I'm like, it's you know, and then we'll just talk about like she doesn't do it often, but like we'll talk about like, you know, about it and not make a big deal out of it, you know, just we talk about healthy choices because again,
All right.
you know, again, we just talk about like, hey, I'm not always going to be there, and so I need you to practice making the healthy choice, right?
Right.
And um you know, you can call me and I'll come get you out of a you know, a bad situation. You can always, you know, like do whatever, like all that stuff. Like if you see if you're in a car and people are not like appropriate, you need to get out of that car ASAP and just give me a call and I'll just come pick you up. I don't care. But like you know, because I'd rather her get home safe than be too scared to call me, right?
Right.
But then and so, you know, just being able to like, you know, make the healthy choice of, you know what, actually I'm not going in that car and I'm just gonna have my dad come pick me up. And he won't be like super happy about it, but you know, we'll get over it, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
It's better than actually getting yourself in a dangerous situation.
Oh God, yeah.
You know.
Dude, we were so lucky so many times, man. Like
Yeah.
we were so lucky so many times. And so like yeah, it's you know, I don't want my kids in those situations. So hopefully they can learn from us and also like our kids are growing up in a situation in a world that's like crap. We never had to deal with like gun drills like
Mm.
like we never like actually worried about losing our life at school, right? Like, but that's a for real thing kids have to worry about, right? And so
Yeah. As messed up as it is, and is, I mean, you kind of have to step back and realize it is a rare thing, but it is still not as, you know.
well, there's one every day.
I know, but
Yeah.
I'm just you're talking
Like
about
that's
the number of schools,
right.
and
Yes.
physics. It should not be. We as a culture should,
Well,
yeah,
but
you know.
I like for y'all it might be like I don't know like for y'all it might be, but like we've had um like there's been like because I live in near I again the hands. But no, like every time I catch myself, like I always kind of chuckle to myself or whatever
That's
because of you
fine.
guys.
Earlier, and I'm like, oh yeah, nobody can
Yeah.
see me anyway.
Right, yeah. But no, like because of the area that I live, like there's some major cities around me, right? Some very large like major cities. And there's been multiple like mass shootings like in our area. And so like, you know, my kids will meet someone if it's not them that goes through it. They'll meet someone who has gone through that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just it just is like and where we're living like we're a massively rapid growing area like
According to U.S. News and World Reports article, March 31st, 2023. Florida was ranked number 4 in incident, third
no
based on population.
yeah no
79 instances.
I'm just talking about like I'm not saying like the state of Florida. I'm just saying like because of the population numbers,
Yeah.
right? Like just because because of the fact that the sheer fact that there's fewer people, so there's fewer chances of it actually happening, right? You know,
Right.
whereas if you lived in Miami or you lived in like Orlando, like or you know or what have you, or you know even Jacksonville, right? Like when you're talking about like a million or more, you're you know the just the chances, right? If you're talking about 1% of 1% chance of it happening, that's you know or someone doing it, that's still quite a few people, right? Versus like you know the you know the population of our city of our hometown, and so like that's what I'm saying. Like you know, so my kids will, you know, I think that like my kids will likely meet someone who has like I've worked with people that have gone through mass shootings, and so like um and survived mass shootings and stuff, and
Yeah,
so
they did a story like earlier in the year that there was a woman who went through a mass shooting at school and then experienced another one while she was at university.
yes, yes, she was Stoneman Douglas,
Yeah.
uh, and then
I mean, I mean,
she went through two.
that's just crazy. And in that article, there was a section on there for, and it's the gun control, gun rights cartoons. I'm scrolling, and one of them popped up with a guy in a gun store looking at a gun, and he says, "I just need something for protection against all the guns out there."
Oh, I'm sorry. No, no. It was Jacqueline Matthews who survived Sandy Hook and then survived a mass shooting at Michigan State.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I thought it was Stoneman Douglas, but no. Like maybe there was another person that was
Maybe there was
Stoneman
more
Douglas.
than one, but it's
Yeah.
just I just remember like reading earlier about it. It was depressing.
Um,
So,
no. It's just the Sandy Hook. No, it was Sandy Hook.
it was Sandy Hook.
Yep. I thought it was.
Okay.
I thought it was the Parkland, Stoneman Douglas Parkland shooting, but no, it was Sandy Hook. And then, yeah, that one, yeah, Sandy Hook to this day. Like the fact that we made, oh yeah, there she is. Yeah, it was Sandy Hook. God. Anyways, that one killed me because that one was when I knew that we weren't gonna do anything about it. Because when when we don't protect elementary children, like if we're not willing to make changes, and again, not take away your guns, but like responsible, protections, like, if we're
Yeah,
not willing to
and
do that,
liability too. If you
right?
um, if you allow your weapon to get into the hands of your child and or a stranger and not properly report, not properly had looked up, there should be, you should be liable, face charge like crap.
Yep. All right, man. I better let you go so
All
I
right.
can put the kids to bed.
I'm gonna go back to Dexter.
All right, you take care, brother.
And talk to you later.
All right, bye.
And it is.